am doing the Anything But Books tag today. It's just like 11 prompts, and it's about, as you can see, anything but books. I recently watched Murphy Napier do this tag, and it sounded like a lot of fun, and I didn't know what tag to do this month, because initially I was going to do like an anime themed one since I did the manga and the anime movie, and then I decided to do something else. I mean, personally, I'm not a super interesting person. I don't do a lot of things, but I mean, we'll see what you guys think. And if you're interested, if there's something that I mention here or something that I don't mention here in terms of things you guys want to know about me, feel free to ask down in the comments. I will respond most likely to any reasonable question. And with that, I'll just jump right in. The first prompt is name a cartoon that you love. For me, personally, I mean, I love most animated movies. See my review of Your Name to have an example of that. But a cartoon that I love, right now, I would have to say that it's Harmon Quest. It's like part tabletop game, part and post-production animation. The post-production animation is doing a cartoon of the struggles that these characters are going on through a tabletop RPG campaign. You have a game master. The guy who hosts is Dan Harmon. He's a writer for a lot of popular things. He did Community. Then there's two other main actors that are there every episode. Jeff Brian Davis and Aaron McGathy. They're kind of comedic actors. Like Jeff Brian Davis used to be on Whose Line Is It Anyways? And then they have a rotating celebrity actor come in to play a character. It's a lot of fun. If you enjoy playing D&D and want something like a little bit more truncated, but still like interesting and funny, this is a good place to go. I've really been liking it. The first 2 seasons were amazing. I'm most of the way through the third and I'm really enjoying it, but it's something I would recommend to people who enjoy like D&D and Pathfinder and stuff. Prompt 2. What is your favorite song right now? As anybody who watched last month's challenge vlog, you'll know that I got a box that makes a curated playlist for the book you get, and I really enjoyed it, but it also got me to download Spotify. I didn't really have a music app. I'd been using Google Play Music, and then that turned into YouTube Music. YouTube Music was bonkers, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I've now transferred to Spotify. I'm currently listening to a playlist for the artist Julia Michaels, and I've really been loving it. The 2 songs that I'm enjoying the most specifically right now are If the World Was Ending, featuring and this song was co-written and performed with JP Sachs. And then the other one is called Hurt Somebody, and that was co-written and performed with Noah Kahan. Those 2 songs are just particularly hitting the spot. I do tend to favor a little bit more like folksy pop stuff, so that's just what I'm listening to right now. 3, what could you do for hours that isn't reading? I think I've mentioned it a few times on this channel, but I do a lot of gaming, especially when we did our initial lockdown and how, at least where I live, we're getting a spike in variant cases, so they're increasing restrictions again. And so what that means for me is I'm continuing to do what I've been doing all of pandemic, which is my husband and I play once a week with a good friend of ours, and we usually spend anywhere from 4 to 8 hours on Saturdays playing with him. And then every Sunday, my husband and I do brunch, and then we game for about 7 to 9 hours with our dads. It's a variety of things usually. Like with our dads, we'll usually play like a survival crafting game. With our friend that we played with on Saturday, it's a mix of stuff. We've done survival crafting. Right now we're doing like quick play multiplayer stuff that we can use the remote play feature on Steam with. I also really enjoy like simulation games, management sims, like Sims 4 or like Game Dev Tycoon. And right now on my Switch, I'm really enjoying getting back into Breath of the Wild and Pokemon. And then on top of it all, I also really enjoy sewing for hours. It's something that my mom and I did all the time together since I've moved out. And once restrictions and COVID-related issues are kind of dealt with, I'll be able to go back to my mom's house and do that again with her, so I'm excited for that. But those are what I do for hours, so like not particularly exciting and not particularly interesting. I'll move on to question 4 now. What is something that you love to do that your followers would be surprised by? And I really don't know, because I don't do anything that seems like to be that shocking. I'm just a big nerd. I do weird nerd things. Like, I do video games. I picked up sewing a few years ago and really enjoy that. I love cooking and baking, so I do a lot of that. Like, I used to love going to the gym to work out, even though we can't go anymore. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, none of this seems that exciting or interesting. It's just things I don't talk about as much on the channel. So, I mean, like, you guys let me know what you were surprised by. Like, what vibe I apparently don't give off. Because I don't know, man. Question 5. What is your favorite unnecessarily specific thing to learn about? I personally really enjoy health, specifically female health and sexual health. Mostly because, like, my mom was very open about stuff like that growing up, but because she grew up at a time that really didn't have a lot of information, and she was very unaware of how the internet could be used when I was growing up, that I didn't get a ton of information growing up. I got a lot of it from my post-secondary education, and I really think that a lot of it should have been taught in like elementary school and high school when you're going over this stuff initially. I feel very strongly about it. I have a whole video coming out that I plan to have come out in May, and talking about some of that stuff. Getting a little off track here. Anyways, I feel like there's not enough information out in the world about this stuff, and like things that are normal and things that are not normal, and like this stuff needs to be talked about a lot more, not just for me, but like for the people I live with, for people like my husband. Like, he has no fucking clue how the female body works. Everything he knows about it, I've taught him because I had to learn, because I mean, it's clearly more important to me to know. But like, I know a bunch about how his body works. Like, it should be a two-way street, and conversations about like the education system and things that should be taught and aren't taught, and like the general oppression of women in medical sciences in terms of like studies, and like being left out of a lot of things for medications, like medication trials and stuff, and just like, I could go on a whole rant. And I'm gonna try to stop here because it's really, I don't think it's interesting to that many people. Even though it should be. So prompt 6. What is something unusual that you know how to do? I'm actually going to go with my work-related knowledge here, because I literally have no interesting skills in my personal life. No interesting skills. Reading fast isn't an interesting skill. That's the only other thing I came up with. So my job, the official title is cytotechnologist. It sounds very fancy and sciencey. It's not that glamorous. What I do is I sit in a microscope for 8 hours every day. Give or take a half hour or two with my breaks. But I screen pap smears, which is a slide that is a cervical scraping, for those of you that don't know. I assume most of you know what a pap smear is, but I'm just gonna explain my job fully here. So, it's a cervical scraping. The doctor will put it on a slide. My job is to make sure to look at the slide and see if it's normal, see if there's a lesion, which is like a precursor to cancer, or to see if there's cancer. Although we don't just look at paps. In my lab specifically, we look at pap smears, but we also look at what we call our non-gynecological samples. And those are things where, like, we've sampled part of an organ. So we've sampled your thyroid or your pancreas or part of your small intestine or like one of your lymph nodes. And I'll pop pictures of everything I'm talking about up. And so what my job with those specimens is to look more specifically for tumors. There are benign tumors and there are malignant tumors. And so essentially my job is playing cancer detective. I am looking at specimens, looking at them on the cellular level. So like a smear will have a series of cells on it, and I'm looking for features within those cells that will tell me if there's cancer there or tell me if it's normal. I personally find my job pretty interesting, but when I talk about it, I think of it as just being a job, which in my mind makes everything I was just talking about really boring, because it's my job. It's work. Like, sorry for the big jump there, like my camera ran out of recording space, I had to adjust. Anyways, like, let me know what you guys think, because my husband thinks my job is really cool, but he's also very biased because he loves me and thinks I'm important, so ergo my job must be important. And I'm not saying my job isn't important. I understand, like, the importance of having a screening system and looking for cancer, but just, like, talking about it, it's like, it's a job. Nobody likes talking about their job. It just seems like one of those boring adult things that I've just gotten into the habit of doing, and now I just don't know how to get out of it. Anyways, cancer detective. That's what my job is. 7, name something you made in the last year. It says show us if you can is the other part of the prompt. I cannot show you guys because I have already gifted the things I've made. I made some stuffed animals within the last year. One was a crab and one was an elephant. And I have already gifted them to my friend who has a baby. That was my part of my present to them. I also made a receiving blanket out of this like chenille fleece that is just super soft, and I love it, and I make all my baby blankets with it now. But that's what I made within the last year. Question 8. What is your most recent personal project? Despite the alcohol I'm drinking, I am currently working on making my diet a little bit more balanced and healthy. I saw my doctor recently, and there's a few things that I'll be able to manage without having to go on a medication if I simply adjust my diet a little bit, which is awesome. I also am trying to work out as part of my more healthier, balanced lifestyle. As I mentioned a couple questions ago with my job, I sit at a microscope all day. It's a very sedentary job, and I have very sedentary hobbies, so I just need to be more active. And that's my most recent personal project, is like health improvement. And now I'll move to number 9. Tell us something that you think about often. I guess most recently I've been really thinking about like the timeline for that my husband, like the life timeline my husband and I have set out recently. It's not set in stone or anything, but there's just a few things I'm particularly excited for that are likely to be in our near future. And so I'm just thinking about it a lot there just because I'm really excited about it. I'm being unnecessarily vague, but I'm going to keep it that way. So on to prompt 10. It says, give us something that is your favorite. I'm going to go with my dehydrator. First of all, I am a small appliance bitch. I love that shit. Give me all the small appliances possible. I will eat them all up. All of them. With that out of the way, I got a dehydrator about 2 months ago, and it has been running almost every day. I am absolutely obsessed with it. So I buy frozen fruit at my local grocery store, at my grocery store. I absolutely love it. It's really like decent quality fruit. You just like, I let it thaw overnight. I put it on my dehydrator in the morning, and then I have these like really healthy snacks. And it's been like really exciting to have like dehydrated pineapple and strawberries. And I tried coconut recently. Yesterday my husband and I made homemade fruit leather. And it's just in an effort to snack healthier, because I know I snack quite a bit, especially because I spend so much time reading and at a computer. And that was my attempt to eat healthier. I think it kind of backfired because I think I'm almost eating like too much of it now, which seems like you shouldn't be able to do that, but like I should be not going through like a full bag of strawberry slices in like 2 days. And that's kind of what's happening. So healthy snack, it's still too much. But yeah, that's my favorite right now is my dehydrator. And then the final prompt, it says, say the first thing that pops into your head. And to be quite frank, I wish I had more dehydrated strawberries. I ate the rest of them yesterday, and I don't have any more till I get groceries tomorrow, and then I won't have it till Monday. Well, I'm gonna stop here. I hoped you guys enjoyed this. I kind of enjoyed filming it. I got to share a little bit of myself with you guys that I don't always, because so much of my content is focused on what I read. Anything you guys are curious about, I can explain a little bit more down below. Or if there was any questions not covered here that you guys are interested in hearing my answers in, put those below. I'll answer any reasonable question, to be quite honest. And with that, I will leave it here. Sorry, that was my wedding ring. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!